Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. How's it going out there, folks in La La Land? Guess what? I'm your host, LA of The Bases Are Loaded. That's right, we do things on a 3U basis. That is undeniable, unapologetic, and unrelenting. And not necessarily in that order. I am so glad to be able to come to you from the shining state. Not the, of course, it's not the Sunshine State, but it's shining today a little bit. A little forecast overhead in here, right here in the ATL. But we are excited about things that are going on. We're excited about all the sports and events that are coming up. And, of course, other entertainment news as well. We're going to be bringing it to you right here live, okay? Right now, guess what? Guess what? That's right. They're playing basketball. They love that basketball. Okay, over the past weekend, NBA 2024 All-Star Game, all up in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Lucas Oil Stadium, right there in the great state of Indianapolis. Okay, the East and West went at it, much to the chagrin of Adam Silver, who is the commissioner of basketball, who had promised that this year was going to be a much more competitive event between the East and the West, because they went back to the East and West format. They previously, if you remember, if you guys are keeping up with the NBA, they've been pretty much doing this thing of trying to draw in more people in the crowd, get a more younger crowd as well. And to execute that, they actually put in place to where the leading scorers from each of the West and the East would actually go against. 9 times out of 10, that was either going to be KD or LeBron. LeBron was always there, simply because he was one of the top and the face of basketball. Not to say that he wasn't totally leading. It was just that he was the leader, and he did have the most points, as you well know. The last year he broke that record. So with all that said, the East and the West went at it. Of course, LeBron was making his 20th All-Star appearance, as well as some of the other, of course, well-noted names like Steph Curry, of course, Damian. We're going to get into it a little bit here in the show. The record was broken by the East, and Adam Silver somehow didn't seem too excited about that. For some reason, when he was announcing the score at the end, he just kind of had a little bit of a barren look on his face. Like he said, he had egg on his face almost, folks. Tell you what, send me a comment. Let me know what you thought about that, and especially what you thought about the game, considering that they broke a record, over 211 points that were scored by the East. And, of course, they won. Had they had a little bit more time, the West probably would have caught up and just basically broke the record too. But all combined, they scored 397 points in that game. The MVP of that game, of course, was the three-peat champion as well. The three-point champion, back-to-back, Damian Lillard. Go ahead, give kudos to Damian Lillard. That's Dame time, if you don't know that. If it rhymes, that's Dame time, baby. Yeah, it's just, he got that little moniker simply because he's been known to be the person who, at the end of the game, when a game is waning, he just shows up big time. And when I say big time, folks, he might pull that thing from the other side of the court. I mean, right past the half-court mark, and send you home packing up. But needless to say, he was the back-to-back, of course, three-point champion as well, edging out, of course, Atlanta. Trae Young competed really well. He scored 24 points, but of course, being edged out by Damian Lillard by 2 extra baskets on that three-point line. And Karl Anthony Towns mentioned, he's got honorable mention too. He actually did pretty good, and that considering he is the biggest man that I pretty much, other than Dirk Nowitzki, that's competed in the three-point contest. It was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Let's get to the dunk contest. All right, dunk contest. Tell me what you think, folks. Give me a grade. Send me a comment. Let me know what you think. Jaylen Brown, Atlanta's home. And homegrown Jaylen Brown was competing. Some would say he didn't do so good with the fact that he actually, I'm pretty sure, I don't know for certain if there's any relation between him and D. Brown, who actually did that famous dunk where he actually covered his eyes as he was ascending on to the basket and dunked the basketball. Jalen didn't do so hot. He did the gesture after he actually made the dunk. So of course it still scored a little bit with the judges, and that forced him into the final round with the previous dunk contest winner. Can you imagine this, folks? G League. For those of you who don't know what the G League is, it is almost like minor league baseball. That's where the teams have a farm system, and they have teams out there that are actually competing. They pay them a nominal salary. It's nowhere near what the NBA gets, but guess what? It's a living. And the G Leaguer was named Matt McClung. He won last year. He's only about 6'1". They give him 6'2" sometimes, but he actually has hops. Who said that white men can't jump? They need to go and talk to Mr. Matt McClung, because he showed up and showed out again. One of his dunks to much of dismay, they didn't give him a good score, and I don't understand why, because he took the ball, folks, jumped over someone, bounced it to himself, and then dunked it backwards. How is that not a perfect score? Who knows? Maybe they just didn't like the way he did it at the first time, and maybe that's what got him to where it didn't go as well. I think they were kind of penalizing the dunkers if they didn't make the dunk on the first attempt, which I thought was kind of unfair, considering if they did a spectacular job in the dunk, should have been counted. But to the actual kudos to Mr. Matt McClung, back-to-back dunk contest winner, Matt McClung, G Leaguer. Folks, hey, I'm pretty sure you let me know in the comments if you think that kid plays well enough basketball. Check him out. Check him out on YouTube. If you can catch some of the G League games, check him out and see if you feel that he should be in the league. I see a lot less players that are in the league that don't play as well as him. I think he should be in there. You let me know what you think, okay? I definitely appreciate the feedback on that. Also, Steph Curry edged Sabrina Ionescu. This is the first time, folks, that the women were invited, of course, to play in the men's, of course, 2024 All-Star Game to compete in some of the skill sets. So Sabrina Ionescu, of course, she actually came in and almost, to no surprise, because she can shoot, folks. She really can. They call her basically the Steph Curry of the league, of the WNBA, and she was a force to reckon with. But at the end, the greatest shooter probably known to man. I mean, come on, folks. Steph Curry. I watched that night when they actually came on ESPN, and they did a segment. The segment lasted for 5 minutes and 27 seconds. All the while, Steph Curry was shooting 3-point shots from all over the court. That's right. He shot for 5+ minutes, folks, back to back to back. We're not talking about hesitation. He was getting the ball thrown to him. He was constantly shooting. He hit over 105 threes in 5 minutes. Okay, definitely set a record. A world record, if there has ever been a world record to actually time it. He definitely said it, and he was pissed when he missed 106. So imagine that. But yeah, he edged out Sabrina, but she showed up and showed out. So, hey, maybe that's going to open a segue for the WNBA to have a little bit more, participation in, of course, the league. It would be fun to me because considering, I'll put it like this, when I was working for this company, we had of course, intramural, of course, basketball and football team. And one of the rules that were set when we did the basketball, guess what? It was co-ed. We had to have at least one player, woman, on the team, and we could not go back down the court in succession without a play being made or assisted by one of the females. Maybe they should take that format, to make it a little more fair, make it a little fun. Maybe you'll get much more viewership on of course, the All-Star Game, because it definitely needs something, I think. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about that. I'm sure you women would want to see probably more women participation. I know, I'm a man. I love it myself. Some of those girls that are ladies in the WNBA shoot just as well as some of the men. Okay, so, besides the physical aspect of it, it still would be something formidable to actually see and behold. So let me know what you think. Okay, I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Okay, as well.
Hey,
Are you liking the Bases Are Loaded? Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button and tell some more people about me. It keeps me coming and keeps you happy and keeps me smiling. Thank you. Now, in other news, woo, guess what? Lord have mercy, Saquon. My Giants. What are y'all doing? Come on, Giants. Come on, Maras. Come on, guys. Come on. What are you doing? This kid is the face of the whole team. Saquon Barkley is 27 years old. Okay? From the Bronx, New York. Yeah, we know he didn't score but 1,000. He didn't even score 1,000 yards this pass rush. But you guys signed him to a one-year deal because you don't want to franchise him, excuse me. If you franchise him, it's going to cost you some money. Guess what? Pay the man. We need him. Because what you need to be concentrating in on, not so much as Saquon Barkley, but the play of Daniel Jones and his health. Let me know. New York Giants fans, what do you think about that? Leave me a comment. Let me know, and fans of the like, let me know if you think that Mr. Daniel Jones is going to carry us into the next stratosphere, and that is, of course, our stratosphere is nothing less than winning a Super Bowl. Forget playoffs. I'm tired of making the playoffs, folks, and we hadn't made it in a while. But guess what? I'm ready for another championship. Aren't you, Giants fans? Let me know what you think about that, okay? Probably, just unlikely. You see, I'm baffled, and I'm never baffled, okay? I'm never at a loss for words, but I am. Chiefs news, Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, the 2024, of course, Super Bowl winners are having to make some really, really strong but depth decisions on, guess what? What kept them there, what got them there, other than Pat Mahomes, of course, is their defense. And they're going to have to make a compromise because they're not going to be able to franchise both these players. And that is Ladarius Sneed, who said, and I quote, "Pay me." Okay, like anyone that has any salient person would want, especially if you're putting in your blood, sweat, and tears and playing football. I know this because I played it. It's a lot of work, folks. It's what you see on Sunday, what you see on Saturday is preparation beyond your imagination or scope. Okay, so when these guys say "pay me" and there's money out there to be paid, guess what? You can totally relate to it, if not understand it and empathize with the player. But also they have to actually make a decision on Chris Jones, who's their edge rusher. And he set pretty much records this past year with about 20, I think it was 15 to 20 sacks on the season, which he's definitely worth his weight in gold. So between those two players, they're going to have to figure out which one is going to get the money, is going to get the bag. Hey, Chiefs fans, let me know. Let me know. I would love to know which one do you feel like is the more valuable player between the two, Ladarius Sneed or Chris Jones. Leave me some comments, Chief Kingdom. I'd love to hear your feedback from it. I'd love to hear what you got to say, and please comment and let me know. All right. Also, in college football, okay. Guess what? College football, folks. College football is not underway. Don't get excited. Not until next August. Okay. Well, this August coming up, but the CFP. Guess what they did? They actually went and they finally passed it. Hey, oh. Yes, that's right. I said it. That's our chant. That's us. Tomahawk chant. Okay? Listen, folks. Yes, I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to do it with my producer, Mike Lowry. I'm not going to start fussing today. I'm not going to start shaking my head. I'm not going to start doing stuff that I did when I ran out of my house when I found out that we were left out of the playoffs for the national championship of 2024, folks. Never lost a game. Never we of course, not only did we not lose a game, we set records with our quarterback play until my quarterback went down. They penalized us for it. But we're not going to get into that, folks. Bygones are bygones. There's nothing we can do about it now. We can still lament over the fact, I know I am, but yes, it's coming. They just passed it today unanimously, okay, on a relenting basis. 5+7 format. That's right, folks. 12 12 D1 schools are going to be able to compete for the national championship as opposed to the 4 that left us, my Florida State, my beloved Florida State knows out of the playoff, considering these folks that are sitting around that probably have about as much playing time as a titmouse on a football field is sitting around in a room and making decisions about who should be on, really, let's be real, I'm going to say it, television. Because that's what it all boils down to. About that almighty dollar. Okay? That's right. It's always going to be about that, folks. So when you understand that, and like the Bible says to us in Proverbs and all that, get understanding. I don't understand, but I kind of do can put up with it. Let's put it like that. But yes, next year, folks, 12 teams. And let me know in the comments, folks, how do you think that's going to fare out? It's going from 4 to 12. That's 8 more teams added in. Still not a perfect system, but it is a little bit more fair from the playing field of the college football arena. That is pretty much it is pretty much the fundamental go-to during of course, the beginning of the spring and the winter months to come. That's where we are glued to our televisions. We are packing those stadiums much more than to, of course, the NFL. That's the reason why they needed to start playing those kids, and they did. I'm a fan of the NIL. That's name, image, and likeness. For those of you who don't know what that means, just basically breaks down and says, hey, this kid is getting all this publicity. He's filling the seats in this stadium. Okay, yes, he's getting a free education, but at the same time, what is he giving to your university? He should be getting a percentage of it. And they finally decided to do that as well about 3 years ago. And it's coming to a point to where kids are starting to get their due. They're just due. And I'm definitely a fan of it. A lot of people don't. But I tell you what, that's another conversation. Let me know what do you feel about the NIL, folks? All right? Regardless of if you don't know that much about it, those kids get paid now. Those college kids get paid for when you turn that television on and you're watching them. And they're sweating. And they're getting blocked. And they're blocking. And they're dunking. And they're hitting baseballs. And they're even doing gymnastics. That's right. That's a part of guess what? The free enterprise and the marketing system that gives people a nice living. Those kids that have a nice living too. Tell me what you think about it. I'd love to hear the comments. I'd love to bring it on. I love it. Okay. And also, right now, let's talk about the SEC power rankings. Because guess what it is? That's right. They're playing basketball. We're getting ready, folks. Final Four. We're on the road to the Final Four. The college basketball is already really underway. And we're going to give you some of the power rankings in the SEC and, of course, the ACC. Because that's where we pretty much are. That's where we live in this part of the region. So you guys, Big Ten, all those other guys, guess what? I'll touch on it further in the season. But right now, we're going to talk about the SEC and the ACC. The power rankings right now for the SEC are as follows. Number 1 is Tennessee. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3, Kentucky, those Kentucky Wildcats. The 4, the Auburn Tigers. Guess what? South Carolina. Those Gamecocks are doing pretty good this year. Okay. Ole Miss, to a lot of people's surprise, Ole Miss is up in the power rankings of number 7. Okay. Also, at number 8 is Mississippi State. Number 7 is Florida. Excuse me. I'm not going to skip over the Gators. I know somebody will say I'm a Gator hater, but hey, I'm with the Florida State University. Hey, go figure. Don't shoot me, but go figure. But yeah, they're doing pretty good this year again. They're number 7 right now in the power rankings. Number 8 is, of course, Mississippi State. And following them is number 9 is, of course, Texas A&M. Georgia fans, guess what? You guys are on the number 10 list right now in the power rankings. That's pretty good. That's pretty high, considering you guys have been ousted pretty much out of the you did pretty good last year, but you were ousted by a team that actually you shouldn't have lost to. It slips my mind right now who you did lose to, but you actually had a pretty good team last year. Also, the rounding up number 11 is LSU. Okay, the LSU Tigers, and of course, Arkansas Razorbacks are number 12. And right now, the Vandy, number 13. And number 14 is Mizzou, the Missouri Tag. Hey, congratulations to you guys in the power rankings. Let's see how you're going to fare getting closer to the big tournament, the big dance. That's where everybody's playing for. All right. Let's go to the ACC. Yes, sir. You see I've got, yeah, that's right. FSU. Hey, my man. Yeah. But we're doing not so good. We'll talk about it a little bit. Okay? So rounding off right now, number 1. No surprise here. Those North Carolina Tar Heels, okay. Number 2, no surprise. Of course, the Duke Blue Devils are always a formidable team. It doesn't matter how. They just do a really, really good job of recruiting down there in the tri-state area with Duke, between those guys, and some of those other guys are in there too. Number 3, is the Virginia Cavaliers. Also number 5 is going to be the Pitt Panthers. My cousin, he went to Pitt. I'm sure he loves to hear that, considering he played basketball as well. No, number 5 is going to be the Wolfpack. And number 4, of course, is the Pitt Panthers. Number 6 is the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They're on the rise. Clemson Tigers, known for football, it's got a basketball team this year. Okay, they're doing pretty good in their conference right now. Rounding off number 8 is, of course, my Seminoles, who we got high hopes, but we're 7-7 right now in the ACC right now. But I think Leonard Hamilton is going to get it together. What do you think? What do you say, Nose Nation? Come on, rise up, baby. Come on, tomahawk that chop one way. Let's go, FSU. Number 9 is the Syracuse Orangemen, who, of course, this is their first year without Jim Boeheim. Okay, they still are up there a little bit. They would start off really, really rocky, but they're starting to pick it up a little bit for the season. Number 10, rounding off, is, of course, the Boston College Eagles. They're actually starting to put some pieces together and getting a pretty good team. They're a little late in the year. Number 11 is Virginia Tech, the Hokies. All right. Number 12 is the Miami Hurricanes, another football school. They've had a really, really good basketball team. Jim Larinara, he's been doing really, really well with that team, with these young boys, and putting them together. The transfer portal is helping him out a little bit. Didn't like when one of my players from FSU went to Miami, but hey, he did it anyways, to my dismay. Number 13, of course, is the Georgia. We don't mention Georgia Tech that much, man. Come on, Tech. Those Yellow Jackets are starting to sting people a little bit. They're getting out there, okay? And number 14 is going to be the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, which is another football school. They're actually doing pretty good in basketball this year as well. And number 15, rounding it off, is going to be, of course, the Louisville Cardinals. They've got some players that are pretty much a lot of pro prospects on that team. We've got some great rebounders and some great center. They've got a great center that's there right now. Okay, so we'll be keeping you guys in touch with everything that's going on, and of course the college basketball on the road to the Final Four and everything in between. And I'm going to touch on something later in the show towards the end right now. So with that said, let me go ahead and touch on that right now. Folks, let me tell you something. Kids, listen to me, and I hope you guys are watching and your parents are listening too. Listen, there is no reason in this world why you're getting a free education from these universities. It doesn't matter what division you are in. These folks are paying for you to go to school. If you're being viewed on television, folks, you have the right. And you also have a dedication to professionalism, as well as common sense. But as one great philosopher said, sometimes common sense, all sense ain't common. And these two teams, I'm not going to mention them because I don't want to give them airplay. But I will say, the two teams last night, you folks can look them up. Division, I forget exactly what division they're in, but it's the easiest thing to find. Just Google Brawl. Brawl, that's right. Brawl in college basketball game last night. It's a shame. These kids are there to be a team. There's no gangsters in college sports, nor in any sports for that matter. Sports is what brings people close together. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. Of course, just the creed color. We don't even have to get into the semantics of what sports has done for race relations over the years. it's changed the format and trajectory of a lot of young men and women's lives. There's no reason for you to get in a handshake line and decide that you're just going to start becoming Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. That makes absolutely no sense. And no, you shouldn't be allowed to compete in this upcoming NCAA championship. No, you shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't even, as a matter of fact, really and truly, the way you guys behaved, I would sufficiently say it's okay to cancel your season. That made no sense. A little girl got hurt, for God's sake, in that melee. Come on, guys. Young men, get it together. Remember, you're a team. You're not a gangster. Okay? All right, folks. With that said, let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about the best play in sports. Caitlin Clark of the Iowa Hawkeyes. Wow. Caitlin, folks, only needed 8 points to beat out the number one scorer in college basketball on the women's side, held by Kelsey Plum of the University of Washington. Caitlin scored the 8 points, folks. Listen to this. Caitlin scored those points in 132 seconds. And on the point of the 3-point that gave her the over 3,200 and some odd points that she has on a season in 4 years, Caitlin shot that ball from the logo, folks. She put a stamp on that thing. She ended up with 39 points in that game. And of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes went ahead to win that game. So that's just give her kudos, folks. That's awesome feat. And we're going to talk about something actually in just a second. And with that said, with her having that feat, let's talk about something that you guys can comment on for me, okay? Cheryl Swoops contacted Caitlin. She commented that she had a great conversation with her, and she wanted to bury the hatchet between she and Angel Reese of LSU, because if you guys remember last year, they kind of went at it because of the little, I don't know what that gesture is. I guess you can't see me is what Miss Caitlin Clark was saying. That's because she's very, very, at times, she can be a little cocky. What's wrong with that? She backs it up, okay? Kind of like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was construed as being cocky. That's my hero, folks. You hear me talk about him all the time. That's the one person that said and did exactly what he said he was going to do. That's exactly what he did, folks, okay? And he did it in professional fashion as well as being cocky. But guess what? So does Caitlin Clark. She and Angel Reese got into it a little bit. Cheryl Swoops, being an ambassador for the sport of WNBA, wanted to kind of bury the hatchet. But Caitlin Clark, along with Angel Reese, they still kind of want to keep this beef going. Let me know in the comments what you feel about this. Do you think they should bury this hatchet, or is it good for basketball? Is it good to have that fodder, that bulletin board stuff? Guess what? It makes people want to tune in and watch. And I tell you what, I'm not just a sport fan of the WNBA, but of course, definitely college basketball. But I'm starting to really, really enjoy watching these teams go at it. Look at Dawn Staley has got her South Carolina Gamecocks. They hadn't lost a game. They're 26-0, folks. And it's something to behold. It's something to watch. So let me know what you think about the comments. Should those two actually bury their hatchet, or should it be more of this quote-unquote little trash talk that's going on and that keeps you a little bit more interested in watching, all right? I totally am a fan of it myself, because the competition is nothing obscured when it's competition and they're going at it. Makes me want to tune in. I don't know about you. Let me know what you think. Now, this month, of course, Black History Month, but I think it's history all the time. It's not just black, it's just back of history, his story. But it is. We do take this time to honor it, and I definitely really appreciate America for doing so, okay? And this, of course, in 1963, Wendell Scott became the first black person to win the NASCAR race, folks, okay? Definitely a major feat, considering it's a male white dominated sport. All right, folks, I tell you what, all I want you to do is realize that sports is just what it is. It's sports, and at the end of the day, it is entertainment. But at the same time, it can teach us a valuable lesson. And I've learned a lot of lessons in playing that sport. It's given me a blessed life. And I promise you, it will definitely do the same thing for the people that are watching and they're keeping up with it too. And that's why we do it, folks. We do it on the bases of loaded. We cover all the bases in sports and entertainment. So guess what? Like I said before, when I know, you always know better. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Let me know those feedbacks. Give me those comments. And have a great, great rest of the week. Hello, and thank you for watching Bases Are Loaded. This show is brought to you by Hot and Saucy. Flavor over heat.